All right, the latest news that we are breaking right on top. 49 people have been killed in the Kuwait building fire. The death toll has mounted. Many Indians have been killed in the blaze. Prime Minister Modi is holding a high-level meet, condoles the death. MOS MEA KV Singh to head to Kuwait. Kuwait Indian envoy has already met the injured victims. The latest getting in, my colleague Geeta Mohan, our External Affairs editor, joining us live for more. Geeta, what more can you add to this news break?
Well, it is a very unfortunate one, and one where, Preeti, we've never seen this kind of an accident in the recent past, where so many Indians have lost lives and so many others injured. Like you rightly pointed out, the new Minister of State for External Affairs is headed to Kuwait. But more importantly, what is it that the Indian administration is going to do? We do know that there is an investigation that has been sought to find out what really happened in that building. And meanwhile, the Indian mission over there is already looking into the matter as to what can be done to facilitate the families of those who are in hospitals. They surely would be needing their loved ones. If they need to be sent back, how can they send them back? And then repatriation of all the mortal remains of those who have died in that fire. So a lot that needs to be done. Stock taking, as also discussing with the Kuwaiti authorities as to how to go about this very serious matter, where a lot of Indians, particularly from south of India, and mostly from Kerala, have lost their lives.
You know, Geeta, we're looking at a figure of 40 Indians amongst 49 that have been killed in this blaze. Keeping in mind where Kuwait is concerned, where 20% of the population of Kuwait are Indians, 30% of that workforce are Indians. What is it that, the Kuwait government is doing at this point of time in terms of compensating, because these 40 lives that have been lost are mostly the blue-collared workforce who work as laborers in Kuwait?
Well, that's right. There will be compensation that will be sought. The authorities over there have already come out and said, have termed this a disaster. So it's not just about compensation, it's also about action. And in terms of what were the regulatory violations that took place in that building for that fire to take place in that building, all those will be looked into. Investigations, accountability, as also compensation for those who've died and those who've been severely burned, have suffered severe burn injuries. Some of them succumbing to their injuries. That's why the death toll is on the rise. It was 40 earlier, Preeti. Then we heard that the death toll rose to 43, and now it's 49.
All right. I'm joined by right now Mr. Uwais Khan. He's an Indian. He is living in Kuwait. He's joining us as well. Mr. Khan, what more can you add? Have there any arrests that have been, that have taken place in terms of, the building owner, in terms of how all of these laborers were packed into this one particular building? What are you picking up? Is action, can action be seen?
Presently, I'm standing around 5 kilometers away from the site where I'm standing here. But in the morning around 4:30 to 5 o'clock, there was a fire incident that happened in that building. That was particularly a camp area where all the bachelors were living from an EPC company, mostly from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and some North Indians and other nationalities also, but mostly from South India. What authorities are just checking what has happened, and their investigation is going on. Still, there is no result out of the investigation. So let us wait for the investigation and see what will happen. But at present, around 49 death has been reported, and 43 has been in one of the major hospitals all over Kuwait.
Do we know the exact number of Indians that have died in this fire, Mr. Khan?
No, the exact number of Indians have not yet been reported, but the total death toll has been reported, 49. But mostly it's Indians, because the company is also owned by Indian, which had rented that building for their employees. So that is the case.
Just stay on with me. I urge you to stay on with me. I'm joined by Mr. Ashkar Maliakal, Secretary Pravasi Welfare Kuwait. Mr. Ashraf, Ashkar, the question I want to ask you is there a helpline of sorts? Because there will be a lot of families back home in India that would be extremely worried. How is it that the Indian embassy in Kuwait is communicating to the loved ones? Have they been identified, the ones that have actually died in this fire? Is there a helpline that we can give out?
Yeah. Indian embassy has started a helpline support for all the victims. So they are updating regularly and they are in a contact with the embassy authorities.
All right. You know, the number that I seem to have right now, and I've just got it, of the helpline is +65 655 05246. So is this the number? And we'll put the number down, viewers, as well. 965 655 05246. That anyone can call to get any indication or communication in terms of their loved ones who they can't really reach right now and they feel that they've been trapped in this blaze.
Yeah. One second. Hold on. Give me the number.
Okay. We'll just come back.
No. Yeah.
Yes.
This is the number. 00965. That is a Kuwait number. 6550 5246.
All right. So that's the number that I just gave out as well. And we're playing the number right here. We're playing the number right here. Large majority of the 49 that are dead in this blaze, Mr. Ashkar, are Indians, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is correct number. Yes.
Do we have a number right now?
Death counts.
Do we have a number? How many Indians in the 49 dead?
So Indian count is not available. What we understand is now around 50 death is reported. Clear death is reported. Which nationalities and other details we are still awaiting from the authorities.
Okay, but a large number of them will be Indians, and that's the unfortunate part as well. Of course, it is a huge tragedy. But Mr. Ashkar, I want to ask you a question. What are the arrests that have been made, especially in the kind of conditions that these men were living in? Has the owner of the building been arrested? Has the janitor been arrested? They all come from one particular company. Has the company owner been arrested as well? Because there would be certain norms in terms of housing and how you keep your staff.
Yeah, see, what we understand is when the fire broke out early morning, the Home Minister rushed to the place and they immediately gave arrest warrant to the concerned people related to the building, the security, everything. They made immediate action, the Kuwait authorities. And what they have done is the public authority who is handling this section were all suspended also. The government did immediate action to who are involved in this case, who are to be convicted for this major issue which has happened among the Indian community.
Is there compensation that the Kuwait government and the company owner liable to give to those deceased and those injured?
Those details are not available, but
has the owner of the company been arrested, sir?
No, the owner is not clear, but the thing is, who are related to the building and the related security and concerned will be arrested soon. That is for sure.
You know, Geeta, I want to bring you in because it also highlights the number of, Indians who work in Kuwait in inhuman conditions, and the buck doesn't really now need to stop with the janitor or the owner of the building. The owner of the company also owes to its staff that at least they are housed in human conditions.
Well, absolutely. There are a lot of problems when it comes to labor.
It's for Geeta, sir. Go ahead, Geeta.
There are a lot of problems when it comes to labor living in these parts of the world, particularly West Asia, and a huge number of them come from go there for in the blue-collar jobs that they find, and they come from various interiors of India. Either it is mostly down south, Kerala, or even Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and they live in such inhuman conditions that yes, there needs to be now a look. The embassies, the missions have to start looking at what the conditions are and under what grounds and conditions is the employment given to these Indians. We do know that they are going there for better economic opportunities, but at what cost? That's the big question. Well, and will there be an investigation? Should there be an investigation? What's the kind of compensation that these? There can be no compensation, Preeti, for those who've lost their loved ones, but certainly a certain amount which will help the family members who might not be from a very well-off or wealthy, or might not have a very well-off background. So it is going to be a very important one as to what the government is now going to do with the Kuwaiti authorities.
You know, compensation, investigation, accountability, it's something that India today is going to be following very, very keenly. 49 dead in this blaze. Most of them, is what we are being told, are Indians, viewers. We're going to keep following the story very closely. Appreciate, Geeta, you joining us as well as the two gentlemen. Big political news that we are tracking. Uttar Pradesh, swept by the India alliance, this 2024 Lok Sabha polls appears to have given the Congress a big morale boost of sorts. While Rahul Gandhi continues to target the Prime Minister over the Constitution, the Congress MP also claimed in a rally that his sister Priyanka Gandhi could have defeated the Prime Minister in his own bastion of Varanasi. Is this renewed energy sparking hope of a revival in Uttar Pradesh? Find out.
Rai Bareli, Amethi, Wayanad. Rahul Gandhi is on a Thanksgiving spree. The Congress MP's message to voters is simple and direct. You have saved the Constitution.
Before the election, you saw BJP leaders saying, we will tear up the Constitution, we will throw the Constitution away, we will change the Constitution. After the election, you saw the Prime Minister doing this to the Constitution. So you can see that the people of India have spoken.
The Lok Sabha election results in Uttar Pradesh has come as a moral booster for the Congress. Both in Rai Bareli and Wayanad, the Congress leader asserted that Prime Minister Narendra Modi could have been defeated.
अगर ये लड़ जाती वाराणसी में, अगर ये लड़ गई होती, तो आज हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री 2-3 लाख वोटों से वाराणसी का चुनाव हार जाते।
The BJP is not taking kindly to statements by Rahul.
2027 कौन सा दूर है? प्रियंका वाड्रा को बोलिए वाराणसी के किसी एक विधानसभा क्षेत्र से कोशिश कर देख लें। असल में क्या है कि कहना आसान है, जब चुनाव लड़ना होता तो वह खुद जाकर अमेठी से चुनाव लड़ता, वह खुद अमेठी से भागे।
The Samajwadi Party Congress combined 143 seats in Uttar Pradesh against the NDA's 36, in a result that stunned the country. While the Congress is celebrating the success in UP, skeptics point out that the groundwork for India Bloc's performance was mostly done by Akhilesh Yadav. Nonetheless, the UP results have given the Congress hopes of a revival in India's most populous state. Bureau Report, India Today.
So after the results, especially the ones that have come in from Uttar Pradesh, has the Congress suddenly realized that possibly this was a missed opportunity? That if they had gone all in and pushed it, results could have even been better, especially in the state of Uttar Pradesh? Or is this just smacking of overconfidence coming in at 43 of 80 on which stands the India alliance? 6 of them from the Congress party, 6 Lok Sabha seats, 37 from the Samajwadi Party, where the BJP comes into question, 33 Lok Sabha seats for the Bharatiya Janata Party, 2 from the RLD, 1 from Apna Dal, making it 36. And 1, of course, is Chandrasekhar Azad, standing from his political outfit. All of that, let's take the questions to our panelists this evening. Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party. Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist, commentator, election analyst and researcher. Rashid Kidwai, author, political commentator in the studio with me. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, spokesperson, Congress. Amitabh Tiwari, good to have you back after a full election season. But the question I want to ask you, begin with you as well. Lots of post-poll data has come out, Amitabh Tiwari. And now when you look at it, is the Congress somewhere down the line in a position to sit back and possibly, that's why we are hearing the kind of commentary, and say, this was a lost opportunity. We could have gone all out and maybe done better than 6 seats.
Well, essentially, see, at the national level, the elections were eerily close. So if the party had managed alliances better, which is Nitish Kumar and TDP as well, because TDP at one point of time was in discussions with the Congress as well, it would have grown much closer. Now, if you talk about UP, I mean, nobody believed that this could be the
type of the result which could come up in UP, and the decline in UP is largely.
Amitabh Tiwari, I'm going to come in. Some of us journalists on the ground did give a hint that kuch to ho raha hai, something's turning in UP.
Correct. So kuch to ho raha hai, and it transformed into
itna ho
results.
jayega was a question.
Yeah, because the poll of polls was giving 65 to 68 seats to the BJP. I mean, across polls. So, and the decline of 29 seats is largely the difference between the simple majority mark of 272 and BJP's 240 seats. Now, if you see what has changed for the Congress, I think what has changed for the Congress is this, that if you remember in 2019, the strike rate of Congress versus BJP was only 8%. It had won only 15 of the 190 seats. This time, the 215 Congress versus BJP seats, Congress won 62 seats, 30% strike rate. So this invincibility of the Congress, or the narrative or the perception that Congress cannot defeat BJP in one-to-one direct contest, I think that has been neutralized to a large extent. And that is what is giving the confidence to the Congress party or its leadership that they can beat BJP now in one-to-one contest.
Right.
Generally, it was believed that regional parties can beat BJP, but not Congress. And that's why we see this increased level of confidence.
Dr. Pooja Tripathi, hindsight is fabulous when it comes to confidence, because you can say and get away with a lot of things. So therefore, the question that I ask you, Ms. Tripathi, kisne roka tha? Who had stopped you from fighting Varanasi? Leave alone Varanasi. I believe the Congress didn't fight where Priyanka Gandhi didn't fight Amethi, and one of the reasons was because you were unsure. And suddenly now to say that Priyanka Gandhi हरा देती प्रधानमंत्री को बनारस में, वाराणसी में, is a little bordering, or rather a lot bordering on overconfidence.
I don't think so, Preeti. If you look at the political map of Uttar Pradesh post 4th June on the Election Commission's website, from Hamirpur in south to Khedia and Shravasti in Indo-Nepal border to southwest, this Robertsganj and Balia.
I'm sorry, I hate interrupting, but Dr. Tripathi, the reason, and I will say it for what you said, post 4th June. This is all post-poll alliance, post-poll, thinking. It's got nothing to do with what was going on then. You had every opportunity to do so. 4th June, after 4th June, you can think of anything and say, "Bhai, ye bhi ho sakta tha."
This 4th June results is because of the groundwork laid. We have to accept that. The whole pre-poll hypothesis, the whole hoopla was around. First, that BJP, Citadel and UP is impregnable and Narendra Modi ji is invincible. Both of these bubble have been burst. And one of the biggest takeaways of this election is Priyanka Gandhi's. Her oration par excellence, her grassroots management, her extensive campaigning, her connecting to the people, her emotional cord, and her asking people to vote on her issues. She was the one who managed Rai Bareli's campaign while her brother was campaigning away all across India. And she's the one who took on the challenge of David versus Goliath and Amethi and took it to the conclusion that no one can imagine. And look at, contrary to Narendra Modi ji, he has won only from a margin of 1.5 lakh, which our own Kishori Lal ji has won by 1.67. Also, the 9 out of 10 the constituencies surrounding Varanasi, they have lost. So when we say this does not come from overconfidence, it comes from extensive campaigning, comes from taking up people's issues on hand. And I think, and it's not just adoration of a brother versus for a sister. It's not just, it's the seal of an, a perfect leader. It's the seal of an aggressive leader. When
okay, Dr. Tripathi, I'm going to bring in the BJP spokesperson, but malum that if it is Priyanka Gandhi, phir to the seat that needs to be left for Priyanka Gandhi has to be Rai Bareli. It cannot be Wayanad. But I will come back. I'll come back to that question. Because if it is Priyanka Gandhi who takes the credit for Uttar Pradesh, then it should be Rai Bareli left. And if it is Wayanad which is left, then there will be questions asked. I'll come back to that. But Sanju Verma, I want to get you in. So, Sanju Verma, there are lots of, post-poll data. And some of it which we are putting out there, and you are a woman of data. So, let me give you a small, a tidbit of that data, which might not please you, but might at least have an understanding for our viewers on what went down in Uttar Pradesh. Now, the CSDS study and the survey, which is post-poll, has come to the conclusion in terms of popularity, UP's choice for Prime Minister. Rahul Gandhi had 36%, which stood 4% more than our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who stood at 32%. These are worrying figures and, of course, a slew of other pieces of data that I can quote.
Okay. Preeti, first and foremost, let me start with a Hindi का मुहावरा. हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत क्या है. हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत क्या है, लेकिन दिल को खुश करने के लिए गालिब ये ख्याल अच्छा है. And why I say this? Let's be very clear. The Congress, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Vadra, they can pack their backs. They can tom-tom saying, oh, BJP has been reduced to 33 seats in Uttar Pradesh, so on and so forth. But politics में और एक बहुत बड़ी कहावत है जो मायने रखती है, जो जीता वही सिकंदर. And let's be very clear, despite Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Vadra screaming from every available rooftop that Congress alone will win 295 seats. Natija kya hua? A party which is 139 years old could not even win 100 seats. You are reduced to 99, but if you want to celebrate, good luck to you. Takeaway number one is this. I have not even come to takeaways. I will very quickly summarize what I want to say. Takeaway number one. Congress won 0 seats in Madhya Pradesh, Himachal, Delhi, Uttarakhand, Andhra Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh and Tripura. And Congress got just 1 seat in West Bengal, Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Gujarat. If you say that that is a performance worth applauding, worth going gaga over, then all I can tell Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra is, you are living in cuckoo's land, you are living in la la land. Takeaway number 2. I have never shied away from calling a spade a spade. Am I disappointed with the Uttar Pradesh results? Of course I am. I would be lying to you, Preeti, if I said I'm just surprised and shocked. But does that give the opposition reason enough to celebrate and rejoice and behave जैसे कि पता नहीं इन्होंने माउंट एवरेस्ट चढ़ गए हैं राहुल गांधी, क्योंकि ये कहते हैं कि नहीं, राहुल गांधी भारत जोड़ो यात्रा, न्याय यात्रा made a huge impact. If it made such a huge impact, let your audience know this. Okay. Lok Sabha 2014, Lok Sabha 2019 plus Lok Sabha 2024. 3 Lok Sabhas put together. Congress's tally in Uttar Pradesh is a royal 9 seats. कितनी सीटें? 3 लोकसभा चुनाव के बाद 9 सीटें. And the BJP's tally after 3 Lok Sabha elections from Uttar Pradesh alone is how much? 170. तो जो कहते हैं ना, कहाँ राजा भोज, कहाँ गंगू तेली. But last but not the least, let me finish, Preeti, with this one comment. Priyanka Vadra went all around town saying, लड़की हूँ लड़ सकती हूँ, लड़की हूँ लड़ सकती हूँ. Uttar Pradesh 2022, she was in charge as one of the general secretaries of Uttar Pradesh. The Congress had a vote share of 2.3% and got 2 measly seats. इसीलिए अपने आप अपनी पीठ को थपथपाना ये आपकी फितरत में है. सत्ता में तीसरी बार नरेंद्र मोदी प्रधानमंत्री बनकर आए हैं. राहुल गांधी के लिए पीएम सीट के लिए कोई वैकेंसी नहीं है 2034 तक. If you want to celebrate still, good luck to you. You are living in Lala's land, like I just said.
All right, okay, but you quoted so much data, Sanju Verma, but you did not comment on the piece of data that I asked, which was the popularity of who will be Prime Minister in Uttar Pradesh, and that seems to lie with Rahul Gandhi. So therefore this debate, but what I'm going to do is, in midst of all of this, now there's a question that has also come up. What will Rahul Gandhi do? Today he was in Wayanad, viewers. And what did he say in a rally? It was a Thanksgiving rally. Thank you for voting me in, which is Wayanad. He's an MP from there. But he also understood and he also communicated that he needs to leave 1 seat. Will it be Wayanad? Will it be Raebareli? But he said something very strange. And he said that whichever one I leave, both Wayanad and Raebareli will be happy. Now, how did that add up? Well, listen into what he said and then we'll bring in our other guest, Rashid Kidwai, who's in the studio with me.
I'd like to once again thank every single person in Wayanad for the love and affection that you have given me. And many people are speculating Wayanad or Raebareli. Everybody knows the answer to this question except myself. So don't worry, both Raebareli and Wayanad will be very happy with my decision.
All right, Rashid Kidwai, we have debated this ad nauseum, especially at a time even before Rahul Gandhi chose to fight Raebareli. Then he decided to fight, and since then it was, if he wins both, which one will he leave? So I'll ask you, for someone who's followed the Gandhis and the Congress for a very long time, which one will he leave? Because it seems that 1 seat Priyanka Gandhi will fight. Which one will it be?
Well, first of all, I have a slight disagreement. I don't think Priyanka Gandhi would contest Lok Sabha election, by-election. There are several reasons for it. I think what Rahul Gandhi is saying, that everybody will be happy, in the sense that if he becomes leader of opposition, then he will be representing the entire opposition space, and that would include so to say, theoretically speaking, Vineyard as well as Raebareli. I see him vacating Vineyard in favor of and retaining Raebareli, because Raebareli, that the Uttar Pradesh reach would be there. It's very tempting. There are 80 Lok Sabha seats in Uttar Pradesh, and second thing is, it's very easy for any Congress leader, or for the better the ally, to win Vineyard seat, whereas in Raebareli it will be very difficult unless Priyanka Gandhi is fielded. It will be very difficult. Priyanka Gandhi has her own set of, so to say, problems and challenges about role definition. She is very effective campaigner, as elections have proved, but she is in search of a role, in the sense that what would she do? Would she be like Ahmed Patel role in the Congress? Would she be in charge of some this thing? If she's, as long as she's a campaigner. Remember, Preeti, in 2019 also, she had expressed in a very public way, expressed her desire to take on Prime Minister Modi from Varanasi. But it was not done. Even this time also it was not done. So I think there are a lot of things are in the realm of possibility.
But this time around it wasn't done because she didn't want it to be done. She didn't want to fight this election where the Lok Sabha was concerned.
Precisely. I mean, precisely because I think the Congress was also not expecting overall this kind of result, particularly in Uttar Pradesh that we are talking about. So, and therefore we must remember Uttar Pradesh is largely Samajwadi Party territory. From 17 seats that were allotted to Congress, they have got 6 seats. So in a way it's a good thing, but I think the Congress now
it's a reality check for the Congress as
precisely.
Well. I want to, stay with me, Rashid. I want to bring in Amitabh back into this conversation. Amitabh, how much credit will you give the Congress? Because yes, it's a huge feat. If you just look at the vote share of the Congress, 2019 it was 6.36, if I'm not wrong. It stands at close to 10%, maybe 9.46% in this election, which is higher than Mayawati, marginally so, where the BSP is concerned. Together, the SP and the Congress, the India Alliance, overshoots the BJP vote share for at least 4%. But this 9.46%, which has translated into 6 seats for the Congress, will you give the credit entirely to the Congress, or a lot of it has to do with the vote transfer from the Samajwadi Party, the cadre of the Samajwadi Party on ground?
See, of course, the Samajwadi Party was the bigger brother of the alliance. So the vote transfer from Samajwadi Party has helped Congress Party win these 6 odd seats. However, there is one important thing which we need to understand, is that how has Samajwadi Party or Congress Alliance been able to win more than the BJP or the NDA bloc? They have got the non-Yadav OBC vote from the BJP, a section of it, the non-Jatav vote from the BJP, a section of it, and Jatav and Muslim votes from the BSP. So they have damaged both the alliances by 10% vote share each, roughly. Dalit voters, the switch of Dalit voters to the SP Congress alliance has largely happened, I would say, because Congress was part of that alliance. Because this Dalit Muslim Yadav vote bloc is not a very cordial sort of a vote bloc that it would transfer.
The PDA
so that
is what
I would give credit to Congress.
Pichhada Dalit Alpsankyak.
Yeah. And the second is that even the consolidation of the Muslims, which has happened to the extent of 92%, would not have happened if Congress was not part of the alliance, because Congress is the party which can defeat the BJP at the national level. Of course, it was the junior partner in UP. Congress did provide the heft to this alliance. But
Amitabh Tiwari, there's so much which has been, and I want to get just for a brief while get into this, just humor me. So much been said about the Muslim vote going with the Congress en masse, consolidating 92%. Most of us who were on ground actually thought that the Muslim vote was a negative vote this time, because the Muslim vote went with the political party who they thought could defeat the Bharatiya Janata Party. It wasn't possibly just the vote of the Congress. It happened in so many seats. You're talking about Uttar Pradesh. Take the example of Nagina, where the Muslims voted till about 3 p.m. They saw the Dalits move towards Chandrasekhar Azad and then decided to en masse vote Chandrasekhar Azad.
Yeah, but that's largely one seat, Preeti. But in all other seats, they have consolidated in favor of the Samajwadi Congress Party alliance. Of course, Samajwadi Party itself had some 78 or 80% vote share of the Muslims, even in the 2022 Vidhan Sabha election. But what I'm saying is that it just Congress added on top of this vote bloc which Samajwadi Party had, and that perhaps made all the difference, because both the alliances have a vote share of 44%. In that case, it is a nightmare for the pollsters, because there is no difference in vote share when you are extrapolating seats on the basis of vote share.
Well, you know, the CSDS survey actually shows the alliance about 3% more than the BJP, the post-poll survey, at least with what the numbers that we have right now. I'll go back.
The actual number is 44 each.
All right, I'm going to go back to the Congress spokesperson. And, you know, ma'am, the question that I'll ask you is, there can be a lot of bravado, there can be a lot of bluster, but what does it rest on? Ultimately, where Uttar Pradesh is concerned, it rests on the laurels of your ally, who was the Samajwadi Party.
Preeti, I want to, just now my BJP panelist was quoting a muhavra. I want to quote a muhavra, Duvidha mein dono gaye Maya Milina Ram. The way they have lost Faizabad, the way they have lost the 9 out of 12 constituencies surrounding Varanasi speaks volume. It's just that Muslims have consolidated and given them vote. Rural distress was a big thing. And when you talk about, we were fighting as an India alliance, we were fighting as a combined bloc, and definitely the major part of the credit goes to the relentless campaigning of Akhilesh Yadav and his insistence on PDA votes. But what we are talking here, what we are debating here is how Ms. Vadra, how Ms. Gandhi Vadra had, steered the campaign in Amethi and Raebareli. I was in Amethi, and she brought a woman, she got a woman on stage, and she told the public that this woman has fought against the whole of her family to educate her girl child, and she derives inspiration from her. And at that moment, I saw every woman in that public meeting felt belonging, or felt the connection that, I'm heard and I matter. And that's how, her emotional cord, her, if she took every jibe and every toheen and every tanj of Prime Minister Modi and threw it out of the park, be it Mangal Sutra, be it inheritance tax. And that's how Ms. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra holds a special mention. Okay. Credit to Akhilesh Yadav's and SP's relentless campaigning too. I think she steered the campaign on her shoulders, and she steered it beautifully.
All right, okay, for the Congress, she might have steered the, the campaign, but what does it tantamount to? Sanju Verma, to bring you in, one thing, Sanju Verma, you have to admit, in Uttar Pradesh at least, it's also been an ideological defeat. Why do people talk about so much of Faizabad, on which comes Ayodhya? For the sheer fact that even in Faizabad, what was the slogan? Somewhere down the line, it was the India Alliance whose narrative succeeded. I was there, the slogan, Sanju Verma, was Na Mathura na Kashi, is baar Ayodhya mein Pasi.
Preeti, you're a very opinionated woman, and so am I. So when you say Sanju Verma, you have to admit this. I will say this very humbly.
Humor me. Don't admit it, humor me. Okay.
Okay. No. You know that, I've had some extremely feisty but very educative debates with you. But I just want to say a couple of things, because I think your audience is one of the biggest stakeholders in debates like these. I'm willing to say that yes, BJP's performance in Uttar Pradesh left a lot to be desired. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to shove things under the carpet. Because जो सच्चाई है, वो सामने दिख रही है सबको. But what I'm not willing to admit, what I'm not willing to give credit to the Congress for is saying कि अरे राहुल गांधी ने देखा क्या कमाल कर दिया, प्रियंका वाड्रा ने क्या कमाल कर दिया. यदि उत्तर प्रदेश में 6 सीटें लाके आप राहुल गांधी की पीठ थपथपाना चाहते हो, यदि उत्तर प्रदेश में मात्र 6 सीटें लाने के बाद प्रियंका वाड्रा thinks that she can be the challenger to Narendra Modi, then I would like to tell people there is something called track record in politics. One swallow does not maketh a summer. And look at Narendra Modi's track record. 13 years as chief minister, 2 terms as prime minister, now into his 3rd term. And Priyanka Vadra is not even sure whether she wants to dirty her feet on the shop floor. As they say in corporate lingo, you can never be a good CEO if you're not willing to dirty your hands on the shop floor. And I think the fact that Priyanka Vadra is reluctant, is hesitant, that shows that she does not have the stomach for a fight. और यदि आप नरेंद्र मोदी को बार-बार कहते हो, अरे मटन, मछली, मंगलसूत्र, मुजरा, इसके कारण BJP was reduced to 240, give Narendra Modi credit for the fact that we got more than 80 seats in Odisha, forming a government of our own and dislodging Naveen Patnaik, a man who reigned as chief minister for 25 long years. Give Narendra Modi credit for the fact that we got a
credit given.
majority in Arunachal Pradesh.
No, I want to ask you a rebuttal. Credit given where it's due, 100%. What went down in Odisha is historic, and credit needs to be given to the Prime Minister. But then, with credit, one also needs to accept some brickbats. Now, do you also admit then, don't admit, but humor me on this, Sanju Verma, where the winning margin of the Prime Minister in Varanasi is concerned? A winning margin of 1,52,000 votes in Varanasi, Sanju Verma, when you won from 4,80,000 votes the last time around in 2019, if the Prime Minister was popular in UP, I'm talking about UP, that winning margin should have doubled from 4 lakh. It's come down to 1,50,000. The Congress is saying this is a moral defeat.
Preeti, let's be very clear. And now again with no offense to you, जो दिखता है वही नतीजा है. नतीजा ये है, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी defeated his closest contender, Ajay Rai. And for Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra to sit and now hallucinate, yadi Priyanka Vadra ladti, I can say, I can do a better job than Preeti Chaudhary at 9 p.m. It does not work. She has the experience, she has the credibility, she has the momentum going for her. I can say, yadi Rahul Gandhi Amit Shah ke khilaf ladte, Gandhinagar se, Amit Shah won by a margin of more than 7.4 lakh votes. Rahul Gandhi ki dhajja ud jati. I can say, yadi Rahul Gandhi Shivraj Chauhan ke saath ladte, तो शिवराज चौहान has won by a margin of 8.42 lakh votes. प्रियंका वड्रा और राहुल गांधी मिलकर भी लड़ते तो उनकी धज्जियां उड़ जाती. मैं ये भी कह सकती हूँ, यदि प्रियंका वड्रा सीआर पाटिल के खिलाफ लड़ती नवसारी से, सीआर पाटिल वन बाय मार्जिन ऑफ 7.8 लाख वोट्स, प्रियंका वड्रा की धज्जियां उड़ जाती. क्या हो सकता था? दैट इज नॉट रेलेवेंट. आज का सत्य ये है, डिस्पाइट राहुल गांधी रनिंग अ प्रोपेगेंडा बेस्ड कैंपेन based on falsehoods and false narratives, Narendra Modi is Prime Minister for the 3rd time running. इस बात को झुटलाया नहीं जा सकता.
All right, as backhanded that was, I'm going to take what you said as a compliment for me. But Rashid Kidwai, I want to get you back into this conversation. The fact is, you're moving now towards 2027 Uttar Pradesh election. This alliance that we saw work very well in Lok Sabha, do you see it continue in 2027? Because if the Congress now really wants to come on its own, then it should, test the waters, or do you think they're going to go with the same alliance in 2027?
Yeah, so I think, Preeti, first of all, I think Rahul Gandhi had a limited point to make. He just wanted to rub in and point once again that Mr. Modi's margin of victory was very narrow. And the second thing which BJP will find it very difficult to stomach in time to come till 2027, that Rahul Gandhi's popularity rating in Uttar Pradesh was higher than Narendra Modi. Nobody would believe that. It's not Tamil Nadu, it's not Kerala, it's not even Karnataka.
But it's also, Rashid, it's at the back of one post-poll survey. Aisa nahi hai, you accept some post-poll surveys, then you reject some post-poll, pre-poll surveys.
That's the thing.
If you accept this post-poll, you have to accept pre-poll.
I think the alliance will stay, because this alliance is between Uttar Pradesh ke ladke and it has clicked. And, it will be like Tamil Nadu, that state will belong to a Samajwadi Party, and central national politics, the Congress would do that. They have a very successful arrangement going back to 1967 in Tamil Nadu. That is the same kind of arrangement going to be there in Uttar Pradesh. So BJP has all the reasons to worry.
All right, okay. Amitabh Tiwari, I want to get you on this, because a very interesting point that has been made by Rashid Kidwai. Because in this kind of alliance, and if it continues in 2027, where the Congress is very happy to, be at the back seat and let Akhilesh bat in the front, then there is cause for concern.
Yeah, of course, even if you see 2022 Vidhan Sabha election, the BJP's tally or NDA's tally had declined by 50 seats.
Yes. I was going to come on to that, yes.
Now, this alliance could mature into a long-term alliance, because we have a history of a negotiation already in place between Samajwadi Party and Congress.
And it's an organic alliance.
And 100 seats.
Right.
It flopped, but 300 seats and 100 seats. If you see the vote share of Samajwadi Party and Congress Party, it is 9% and 37%. So largely in the same framework, if both the parties now do not arm twist each other and do not, share the same ideology and the purpose of defeating the BJP, then I think the alliance could continue. The cause for worry for the BJP is that it has also grown inorganically in UP. When I say inorganically, a lot of leaders from Samajwadi Party and Bahujan Samaj Party have joined the BJP and won elections, and largely because of the non-Yadav and non-Jata vote bloc, adding to the Brahmin Baniya vote bloc it had. And the Samajwadi Party has made some dent. So we'll have to see. 3 years is a long time in politics, how this plays out.
But right now, how it's playing out, Mr. Pathi, is the sheer fact that you have to now ride on the shoulders of your bigger, larger, more effective ally and hope to get by, and then, stand in the background and let Akhilesh Yadav take all the credit. So therefore, where Uttar Pradesh as a state is concerned, you might say, Rahul Gandhi is the most popular, or we are going to look at sweeping UP. That's not happening in the near future.
So we are a part of alliance, and it's a very strong alliance. We have delivered results, and just now Sanjay ji was inviting. I would have invited Narendra Modi ji to fight Wayanad and handfully lose. Forget Rahul Gandhi winning from 4.2 and 4.6 lakh vote. He should have fought against Kishori Lal ji and would have lost. And Amit Shah could have won against fought against Rakibul Hasan and he would have lost. So, if our politics is a matter of track record, then Rahul Gandhi has won from a huge margin of 4.3 and 4.6 lakh, but Narendra Modi ji could barely, and for some substantial hours, he was trailing in Varanasi from Ajay Rai, and Ajay Rai polled some 4 lakh vote. So that speaks a lot about declining popularity. 32% and 36% is there.
Dr. Tripathi, trailing in the first 2 rounds, you and I both know, वो कौन सा डब्बा कहाँ का खुलता है, कब आप, let's not get into that.
Just 1.4 lakh, Narendra Modi ji managing to save his seat is a big thing. He is the Pradhan Pracharak of Bharatiya Janata Party. All 543 seats was fought on his name, and he should have voted. They gave.
I want to come in now.
Okay.
10 lakh par, ab ki baar 7 lakh ka margin, and he has won by nearly 1.5 lakh votes. That speaks volumes about the politics.
1,52,000 votes, a little over 52,000 as well. But okay, Sanju Verma, I know you want to come in, but also reflect if 2027, this alliance, which is highly organic, which is now clearly working, whatever PDA might mean to the BJP, but the message has translated to the ground. Many say it's only the Dalits. It's not quite true. If you look at the fine print, even on the OBCs, which are even non-Yadav OBCs, the alliance has been able to pull quite a sizable percentage of vote.
Preeti, I'm surprised and I'm appalled that Congress ki pravakta yahan baitkar, Rahul Gandhi has won by more than 4 lakh margin from Wayanad, Rahul Gandhi has won by more than 4 lakh margin from Rae Bareli. Arey madam, Rahul Gandhi abhi bhi vipaksh ke neta hain, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी हैं, ये कड़वा सच का घूंट पी लीजिए, डाइजेस्ट कर लीजिए. Now let me come.
Ma'am, let's go one by one. No point interrupting.
Yes, I did not heckle her. I need my time. I have spoken about Uttar Pradesh. I told you it is a result which leaves a lot to be desired. But when you talk about Dalits and you talk about OBCs, Jatavs versus non-Jatavs, Bhumihars, Kurmis, I also want to say one thing. The 3 states of India with the highest tribal population, which are those? At the top is Chhattisgarh, then the state with the highest tribal population is Madhya Pradesh, and the 3rd state with the highest tribal population in India is Odisha. और ये तीनों states जहाँ पर आदिवासी जनसंख्या,
Jharkhand, ma'am, Jharkhand, you have forgotten. And
Preeti, can I finish?
Okay, ma'am, finish.
Do not heckle me like this.
Please,
can I finish, please? I was coming to that. The top 3 states, I repeat, Jharkhand falls to the 4th place, Preeti. Let me finish. I know my data very well, better than anybody else. Top 3 states, छत्तीसगढ़, मध्य प्रदेश और ओडिशा में, जहां आदिवासियों की जनसंख्या बहुमत में है या 25-30% से ज्यादा है, वहां पर सत्ता में आज कौन है? सत्ता में डबल इंजन सरकार है. You want to give credit to Modi for that? No. Arunachal Pradesh, a border state. There we have a brute majority, more than a 2/3 majority. You want to give credit to Narendra Modi for that? आप कहेंगे नहीं. जिस पार्टी का गठन कांग्रेस का 1885 में हुआ था, लगभग 140 साल पूरे होने को आए आपकी पार्टी के गठन के बाद, 3 लोकसभा चुनाव में मिलकर भी आपकी टैली कितनी है? 195 सीट्स, 44 सीट्स इन 2014, 52 सीट्स इन 2019 एंड 99 सीट्स इन 2024. आपको शर्म नहीं आती है? आत्मचिंतन करने की बजाय आप अपनी पीठ थपथपा रहे हो. First, learn to come to power, then नरेंद्र मोदी को सर्टिफिकेट बांटिएगा.
All right, I'm going to close this debate, but I want to quickly bring in our 2 political analysts for like 20 seconds each. For someone who's followed the Congress, Rashid Kidwai, what are you going to watch out for in the days to come?
I think whether Rahul Gandhi retains Rae Bareli or not, what will be the strategy in Uttar Pradesh, and whether he'll take this post of leader of opposition. Will be very visible. He will have a say, and there will be direct, comparison constantly, between him and Narendra Modi, and that is going to make him a contender for 2029.
Amitabh Tiwari, for someone who is pitching himself Rahul versus Narendra Modi, then leaving Rae Bareli will be foolhardy.
Yeah, I think he should now retain Rae Bareli, and I also agree with Rashid Bhai that he should also take up the position of the LOP, because that's what is missing in his CV. He does not have administrative experience. He is not attending parliament, etc. All is the narrative. So if he does that, he does get a chance to neutralize.
All right, for the Congress, at least they need to begin from there. It's a long road ahead. Appreciate both the ladies and the two gentlemen for joining us. Thank you there. What we're going to do is we're going to move on. Two swearing-ins today. There was a new political dawn in two states, Odisha and Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu saw a lovely swearing-in ceremony. Naidu 4.0 Sarkara kicked off with Chandrababu Naidu's return as the Chief Minister. Star Neta Pawan Kalyan is now his deputy. Prime Minister Modi led the BJP flock, flanked by NDA allies. But it was also the star power in midst of all of that came through.
Nara Chandrababu Naidu ane nenu.
It's now officially Naidu Nadu.
Andhra Pradesh Rashtra Mukhyamantri.
An emotional Chandrababu Naidu took oath as Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh in a massive grand ceremony in Vijayawada. The VVIP attendee was Prime Minister Modi, who flew down from Delhi to witness the historic swearing-in ceremony. Prime Minister Modi was seen embracing Naidu warmly and patting him on his back as the bonhomie between the two leaders was visible to all. Next to take oath was Pawan Kalyan, who is now the Deputy CM of Andhra Pradesh.
Konidala Pawan Kalyan ane nenu.
His proud wife was seen clicking the memorable moment on her phone as her superstar husband took oath. Soon after being sworn in, Kalyan walked right up to his superstar elder brother, mega star Chiranjeevi, to take his blessings. Naidu's son Nara Lokesh also took oath as his family watched on proudly.
Nara Lokesh Aranenu. శాసనము ద్వారా నిర్మితమైన భారత రాజ్యాంగం పట్ల
20+ ministers, all handpicked by CM Naidu, took oath, majority of them TDP leaders, and overall 3 from Janasena and only 1 from BJP. But it was moments from the swearing-in that got everyone talking. Soon after the ceremony, Pawan Kalyan was seen requesting Prime Minister Modi to meet his brother, and the Prime Minister was more than happy to oblige. What followed was a photo op that Andhra won't forget soon. Prime Minister Modi held up the Konidela brothers' hands in victory.
Megastar, power star, superstar.
As a proud Chiranjeevi was seen pinching Pawan Kalyan's cheeks.
ఇది అరుదైనటువంటి చిత్రం. అలాగే మన పెద్దలు బాలయ్య బాబు గారు.
Prime Minister Modi was seen also interacting with superstar Rajnikant and his wife on stage, as well as Telugu superstar and Neta Balayya.
Rajnikant garini palakaristunaru pradhani.
వారి
What a sight, ladies and gentlemen.
A memorable swearing-in ceremony for CM Chandrababu Naidu.
How do you feel?
I feel great, Andy. It's people's victory, people's freedom fight. They got their freedom. That's why they voted for him, because they believe in his leadership, that he will take the state way forward with a lot of good development for the people.
Naidu now has to hit the ground running to fulfill the promises he's made to Andhra. Bureau Report, India Today.
बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय श्री हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी को.
From Andhra Pradesh, let's move now to Odisha. The lotus for the BJP has finally bloomed in Odisha after 24 years. Mohan Charan Majhi, the first BJP chief minister in Odisha, took oath with his 2 deputies, KV Singh Deo and Pravati Parida. Parida is now the first woman deputy chief minister of Odisha. Prime Minister, along with a number of union ministers and other dignitaries, attended Majhi's oath-taking. Also attending the event in a good political gesture was former Chief Minister of Odisha, Naveen Patnaik, the Biju Janata Dal chief who headed the state for 24 years.
मेरे को महाप्रभु जगन्नाथ जी इतना बड़ा दायित्व दिया है उड़ीसा क्षेत्रों में काम करने के लिए, और वो दायित्व निश्चित रूप से मैं निभाऊंगा। उड़ीसा लोगों का काम करने के लिए मैं निश्चित रूप से दायित्व लिया है और संकल्प भी लिया है। जो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी जो मोदी गारंटी का जो बात बोले काम करने के लिए, और निश्चित रूप से उड़िया लोगों के मोदी गारंटी का जो काम उसको निश्चित रूप से अगला 5 साल में करके दिखाऊंगा।
Congratulations to the two newly minted chief ministers. The focus now on governance and nation building. With that, it's a wrap on News Today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow evening at 9 p.m.